This is the Heartbeat of Tampa Bay, where we profile people in our community making a difference.
Absolutely right, and we shine a light on people really that are making waves in Tampa, right? And it reminds us, Christopher, on how Tampa Bay's heart beats so strong. It's our pleasure right now to welcome Tiffiny Newton into the studio. You are the founder of IgniteHer.
Yes, thank you very much for having me here.
And tell us about IgniteHer. What do you do?
So I started IgniteHer because of my own story of domestic violence and escaping that awful situation. And I wanted to find a way to help women immediately. And how can you do that? You can't wait years to raise millions of dollars for a shelter, although that is absolutely well needed in the community. But how can I impact someone today to help them empower themselves and feel confident to escape? And that is through self-defense. So teaching those little techniques that if they're put in a specific position, and we teach many different types of positions, how to escape that safely. So not necessarily to fight back, but to subdue and get out. So that's where it all started. And then of course, education to women and especially young girls on the tactics of manipulation, the red flags to look for, what coercive control looks like, really so they can see those red flags much earlier and avoid dangerous situations.
Well, we have to tell you, I mean, honestly, commend you, and our hearts are probably skipping a beat that you're sharing your personal story. So when you're talking about defense, and that's also what makes your nonprofit unique, did you have to use those self-defense tactics yourself?
I wish that I had known some of these in some of the situations that I had gone through. I think that is what drew me or pulled me towards getting help for women now. But I do wish that I had those specific things, getting pushed and shoved and spit on and backed into corners and punched in the chest, just degrading things that you just don't know how to react in that moment. So learning self-defense and doing those moves over and over and over, not just coming to one workshop, but multiple, you get the confidence so you can react in a scary situation, because learning it in a calm situation is one thing, but learning it when you're freaked out and getting scared, getting yelled at and pushed around, how do you react in that moment?
And I think you've obviously keyed in on why it's important to do this over and over. It's just like the police or the military, they practice over and over, so it almost becomes intuitive.
Yeah.
What are some of the signs that would give a young woman, or a woman of any age for that matter, an idea that she might be in a relationship with a person that, or how to avoid getting in that relationship in the first place, I guess really would be the better question.
So I will say, initially I was in denial. 4 months into my relationship, someone told me I was in an abusive situation, and I was like, no, I'm not. And I went and told my abuser. This person thinks I'm in an abusive relationship. Well, that caused the isolation to increase. So I don't necessarily use the word abuse, but women who are fearful of how their partner will react to certain things that they say, they're kind of walking on eggshells. They're getting isolated from friends and family members and coworkers. Maybe their job is getting impacted because they're showing up late because of the guilt trips of their significant other. And control. You can't wear this, you can't do this. I need to see your phone, I need to have all your passwords. All of these things, people understand that. They may not correlate that to abuse, because most people grow up thinking abuse is a black eye, blood, a broken bone, those types of things. And that's not always the case.
It's a lot more than that.
Yeah. I think really the key is if you can't be yourself, it's so important just to be yourself and not be judged or criticized.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
So Tiffiny, let us ask you this. How does IgniteHer work then? Do you provide the classes to people? Do you get them into the classes? Explain the process to us.
So ideally, we have some new news, we're going to be working out of a specific brick and mortar place off of Starkey Road.
Congratulations. Wow, that's fantastic.
But we will host workshops where we've had classes of 40 plus women coming in to learn these moves. So they can pair up with someone that they know or pair up with someone that they don't know, because it's about hearing a story that they can probably relate to, or someone they know can relate to it, and learning a move or a couple moves, repetitive behavior in that, feeling awkward, right? So you're hearing a story that's heavy, you're doing a move that is awkward, and you feel silly, and you're laughing with that person. So it's sinking in a little bit more. And then we have some type of education, whether we bring in a police department to talk about, is calling 911 and ordering a pizza a real thing? Which it is.
It is. So explain that for viewers who don't know what that is.
Yeah. So if you call 911 and order a pizza, they will ask you specific questions. Say pepperoni if it is this, or say ham if it's this, and they'll, kind of guide you in that process.
It's giving me goosebumps. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly.
It's sad that we have to do things like that.
Yeah.
But
But if there's a weapon on site or the abuser, it's a way to call and ask for help without alerting the abuser. So it's a safety precaution, which is amazing. Having cops on site or a police department on site to answer questions. I was surveilled. He went through my phone all the time. He would look at my browser history. He would, he was in the IT world, so he knew how to deep dive into everything. But be able to get questions answered without having to search your phone is the goal. So having a police department person on site, a domestic violence advocate, someone who is out in the community responding first off or firsthand in those calls, and then having someone in the mental health space. So how do we heal from this? What are steps that we can take to be more confident when we leave this? Because you are broken. I mean, I got divorced and I went out and conquered the world after I got divorced, but leaving this relationship, I was broken. And so how do you rebuild after that? So having that mental health person on site is really helpful to help answer questions.
what are some of the things that are, you talked about the signs, that lead one to recognize that they're in an abusive relationship, but what do you do to instill into a woman in their mind that, okay, I recognize this is a bad situation, but I feel trapped because I can't pay for my bills without this person, or whatever other reasons that they come up with that are legitimate reasons, but that prevent them from actually taking action. How do you give them that confidence that, like, you've just got to do this for your own well-being?
So first and foremost, they have to draw a line in the sand that this is the moment, or this is going to happen, whatever that thing is, that is the straw that breaks the camel's back. If this person does this to me, I'm out. And draw that, and that will be a confidence builder right there. So it's a part of a safety plan, right? So they're writing down things that have happened, they're writing down things that may happen. Like when you stare into the eyes of someone that's abusing you, their eyes turn black. They legit become a monster. So the danger is escalating each time you leave and each time you come back. You're giving them permission to do more, so they do more. So what is that line in the sand? Is it threatening a child, threatening an animal, threatening you in a certain way, whether it's a gun or knife or fist to the face? Like, what is that line in the sand? And once they determine that, and if it happens, they then know. You're telling your subconscious, this is what needs to happen, and then your body is going to shut down in a certain way. But you have to be very careful, because leaving an abusive situation is the most dangerous time.
Because it incites them to be even more abusive.
They no longer,
Yeah.
they become feral. They can't figure out how can they get their control back. And so they just become flat dangerous. And it's not just in the time that you're leaving. It can be 2, 3, 4 months, 6 months, up to 2 years after you've left, because they want that control back.
It's so scary. I mean, even law enforcement will say all the time, responding to domestic violence situations are often the most dangerous, the worst.
Absolutely.
So, and it's so brave of you to speak out, because so many people may not know, like these questions that we're asking you, they may not know the answers. So have you heard, have you gotten positive feedback from IgniteHer and your classes and speaking out? Do you have some success stories to share with us?
Oh, absolutely. And you met her outside of here, where she came to my workshop. She actually helped redo my kitchen, my house, my design of my house. We started talking, and she then came to my workshop, and she volunteers for me now. So it is
incredible.
It's just a way to give back and empower other women, because someone in that situation isn't necessarily looking for someone that's 10 years out of a relationship and living a successful life. They may relate better to someone who is the step ahead of them.
Right.
Because they relate, it's really fresh, or 2 steps ahead of them. And then they can kind of tuck them under their wing and be like, come on, I was there too, come with me. So it's really that understanding of who can help them
Building
and
a
who they
connection.
relate to.
Yeah.
And I think, it's really interesting too when you mentioned the amazing woman you're talking about, and here she is a designer. The fact, though, that you are open about your life, that she felt okay to start to share things. And I think that's really important, right? Like being open to share your life.
Absolutely.
And being willing to hear
Talk
other
about
people.
it, like Tiffany's doing. I mean, reducing the stigmatism that's associated with being a victim of domestic violence, I think, is really important.
Yeah, I mean, that type of abuse thrives in your silence. So the only way to get rid of it is to speak out, is to shine a light, is to, I haven't named him, but he knows. And if he searches me online, I'm talking all about domestic violence. It's him. I mean, I have never been in another domestic violence situation. And if I had, he would use that against me anyway. But only speaking about it will help reduce that, because they have to be accountable. They're not taking accountability because we're staying silent.
Well, you have got this great charity that you've started. What can people do to help in terms of financial contributions or volunteering, those kinds of things, Tiffiny?
Yeah, we're just launching a new program. I haven't even told you this yet. We're doing Kids First bags. And so we're going to be raising money to get bags together that will have stuffies, blankets, a snack, an activity book, water, like something that the local police departments, when they go out on a domestic violence scene and see children, they can give them something. Not just a stuffed animal, because that's not necessarily for all ages, right? But something like an activity book. Coloring calms the mind. Sudoku, word puzzles, like things that anywhere from like 3 to 17 or 16, whatever that age span is, that each of them can benefit from. So we're taking donations to be able to buy in bulk for that. Donations for ongoing talks, like going out into the community and having talks, so to be able to spread more awareness out there, because that's making more people aware from all ages. Young children, we're speaking at the Great American Teach-In coming up. So, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders that are dating, that's where it starts. That's where the manipulative kind of conversations start. So getting that into their brains early, and then bringing the workshops. So we can do private events, workshops. We can host them at the new facility at Gracie Jiu-Jitsu Largo West.
That's a new location?
It's the new location.
Fantastic.
It's going to be a big community center. We're going to have all kinds. The grand opening is in January. But we're going to be hosting all kinds of fun things, like what is love bombing, what is gaslighting, what are these things, and bringing other like trauma journaling, like how do you get all your stuff out of your head and get it on paper where it will live in a different part. You don't have to hide it and compartmentalize it in the same way.
Fantastic. Do you have a website that you could share with people who
Yes.
can learn more about this, or maybe go online and make a contribution?
Yeah, IgniteHer.org.
Very good.
Wonderful.
IgniteHer.org.
Gosh, thank you so much, Tiffany,
Yes,
for
thank
your insight and being so brave and sharing your story with us.
Well, thank you very much for having me here.
A real
you.
hometown hero. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
This is the Heartbeat of Tampa Bay.